So what we're seeing here is highlighting on desktop. So we're looking at this location. We have no idea what's going on. For example, there's these books on the ground. Can we interact with them? Well, let's start moving the cursor around. Oh, you can see some highlight around things. So basically, highlighting is just a way for you guys to know more easily what you can interact with in a location.
So right now you can see a slightly transparent yellow outlining around the character, right?
Yeah.
That's what you're talking about.
So it also depends on the thing we're highlighting. So for example, certain things, for example, when you're right-clicking something and you see that cyan color, that also reflects onto highlight. If you're talking to an NPC, you see a yellow outline, and so on.
So what do these different colors mean? Or
basically, yellow means it's a friendly NPC or someone you can talk to, but not attack.
mm-hmm.
If it's just someone that we can attack, then, for example, let's find a rabbit, a poor rabbit.
We'll zoom in a little bit. They're quite small.
Yeah, you can see.
There you go.
There's also a flash when you actually interact with something that's being highlighted at the moment. Just to further highlight that you're actually clicking on something to interact with it, basically.
Mm-hmm. So I see in the chat, I see loads of questions about, will you be able to turn this off?
Yes, this is going to be something that's going to be on mobile as well. And on mobile, we're going to have basically a toggle in the interface for players to turn it on and off. And on both mobile and desktop, you'll also be able to turn it on and off via the graphic settings.
Okay, so yes, we've got that.
Yeah.
Cool. We had the blue one, the red one, and the yellow, right? Blue
Yep.
one is just things you can interact with. The yellow is NPCs, neutral NPCs, and reds are
Stuff you can
attack. Cool,
like these ones.
which is quite nice.
Yeah.
I saw someone in chat ask about colorblind mode. Are we taking that into account, or?
We've had a couple of discussions regarding it previously, and we've spoken with various UI designers at the time and UX designers, and basically we've chosen these colors simply because even if you suffer from some color blindness, there's still differentiation in terms of the brightness or glow they actually provide, even if they look similar in tone,
Mm-hmm.
or hue rather.
So we've mainly looked at trying to find the colours that even if you are colorblind, they still
Yeah.
different shade look, but it's not a true colorblind mode yet,
No.
right?
There's currently a plan to in the future address this as a colorblind mode that will affect the entire game, not just this specific feature. So
we want
general.
So we want to take that in a broader scale and not
Yeah.
just do it for this specific feature. Cool. Just good to check. Let me check as well. So for PC, it's mainly on the clicking, or if you hover over it, you will see it. Are you on mobile? You don't have a mouse or a cursor.
No, we've seen
That
it
is the GIF
previously.
we've seen, right?
Yes. If we can go back to the video.
There we go. We're going back to this lovely.
So basically on mobile, since there's no actual cursor, we decided to tie this. So if the player has toggled highlighting on, we tend just highlight things around the radius around the player. So as things come in and out of the player's, I guess, circle of influence or region around them, they get highlighted, and yeah.
Okay.
We still have the same behavior, so if you tap on something, it still pulses.
It still pulses and flashes. That's pretty cool. I wanted to ask. Oh, I kind of forgot the question that I wanted to ask. That is quite terrible. But I'll come on it. It's probably not that important. Oh yeah, no, I figured that. There you go. It's just all the nerves that I obviously had here. So why are we doing this? Is this kind of for like a new player experience, or just something that we feel like it's going to add to the experience?
It's a case of both, really.
Both.
It's, for example, when we start learning a new skill in RuneScape, we often are taken like to new locations into the world that we haven't been to before, and it's kind of like, well, I'm not really sure what I can do here. So on PC, you're basically just moving the cursor around, trying to find things in that environment that you can interact with. On mobile, we don't really have that luxury. It's a case of like randomly tapping and guessing that this might be something you can do.
So it helps us to highlight things you can interact with mainly, right? That's the aim. Okay, cool. Shall we then move on to like the second bit, because this ties into it a little bit, right? Which is the canopy cutout, which we also showed briefly at RuneFest.
Yep. So the canopy cutout, as we move under a tree, we can see it fading. Basically, this is meant to more easily let players navigate areas like the Lost Grove, which has some very thick tree canopy foliage. So for example, we can still see our character while we're moving around, even though there's
pretty good.
trees everywhere.
If you stand still for a second, how does it then look?
Sorry.
Don't stand in the open. Oh, there you go. Alright, that's pretty good. Is this the same effect that we use in the free cam a little bit?
Yes, it's similar basically.
Okay, I like that.
It's based on the same system, but yeah.
Does this only work for tree foliage or also for other buildings and
At
things?
the moment it's only affecting tree foliage.
Okay.
But it's something that we may look into future to use for stuff like windows, for example.
Okay. And right now it is on the character, right?
Yes.
Would this, because there are also items or things you can interact with behind trees, would we be considering to put this on like the cursor as well or something?
It's something we've spoken about previously, and we'll still need some research. In terms of user experience to see if it's confusing or feels odd to have things just randomly disappear around the cursor.
Okay. It is actually quite nice. I really like it.
We try to go for a slightly subtle effect, so there's not a massive region, a massive bubble around the player. There's just a tiny area. You can see what's going on.
Okay, that's really cool. Can you go to like another nice area with trees? I'm just curious how it looks in like.
Let's try.
Does it also work on the or let's go there. Does it also work on the big trees in Anacrania? Because you've got some chunky trees over there.
Not
as well.
at the moment, but those tend to be less obstructive. We're looking into changing it so we can apply it to every single tree in the game, rather than just these ones that we've handpicked as the most impactful for now.
That sounds pretty cool. So my main question is that kind of remains. It's like, this is really cool. I like this. I think it will be very useful for new players in particular, because the majority of us who play, they kind of know where their character is and they know how everything works. For new players, it's just going to be really cool, in my opinion. Can you give us a bit of insight on when we can potentially expect this in game, if that is happening?
Potentially within the next 3 months.
Within the next 3 months. That sounds pretty good to me. Cool. Thank you very much for that. Is there anything else we want to showcase here, or are we happy? Is there something I missed? Because you've worked on this, so I'll let you do the talking.
I think this pretty much covers it.
Cool.
But yeah, hope you enjoyed it.
Thank you.
I look
can you
forward
zoom in
to
a bit more so we can just, if we get behind the tree. Oh, there you go. So even then, if you, to be fair, this is kind of when the camera zooms comes in anyways. It's quite nice, but then if we click the tree, you still get the nice highlight as well. Cool.